Ladies and gentlemen, folks from all across the ICS, I'm Empress Katana, and I'm so thrilled to be here with you guys tonight. It's another edition of Waterfall Live. We've been having a great time doing shows and getting things ready and recording special videos for everyone. We're very excited with some of the things that we've got coming up, especially this weekend, but I'll get to that soon. Hi, Stephanie Bice. Stephanie Bice is taking the night off, so we've got our amazing Empress, Chantel Duvaldez, in the back room helping out and organizing and producing the show with me. So we're going to have a great time tonight because her and I get to laugh at each other all night long, and it's tons of fun. So first, as always, we would like to make sure that we do our land acknowledgement. The city of Hamilton and surrounding areas is situated upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron, Wendat, and Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. The land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. We further acknowledge that this land is covered by the Between the Lakes Purchase, 1792, between the Crown and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Today, the city of Hamilton and surrounding areas are home to many Indigenous peoples from across the Turtle Island, and we recognize that we must do more to learn about the rich history of this land so that we can better understand our roles as residents, neighbors, partners, and caretakers. We stand in solidarity with the murdered and missing Indigenous women, girls, transgendered, and two-spirited people. And tonight wouldn't be a night for us if it wasn't for our chosen charities. And just to ramble them off really quickly for you, you can donate. Donation, you can see it on the scrolling bottom there, are accepted at waterfallempire@gmail.com or paypal.me/waterfallempire. We do have the Hamilton Regional Indian Center, Spectrum, Pride Niagara. What happened there, Chantal? Keep it going. We'll go one more time. We'll see. So Spectrum, out of the Kitchener-Waterloo area, as well as Pride Niagara, out of the Niagara Falls, St. Catharines area. And then, of course, our last one, which is one of our longest ones for me to say, is the Masters University Children's Gender Diversity Outpatient Clinic. I got it. I will finally get them all down pat eventually. We have some amazing guests for you tonight. I'm very excited. The Imperial Court of the Waterfall Empire honored Transgendered Awareness Month. And I'm very excited to have our guest on tonight. And we're getting there. Trying not to rush the show too much. They want me to go till 8 o'clock, but I get too excited about all of our guests. So let's just bring on our first one. The fantastic Superboy Emperor of Puppies and Pokeballs. He's mask for mask Emperor 45, Tanner Steele. Hi.
Hello.
How are you, Your Majesty?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited.
This is your first time on Waterfall Live, I believe.
It is. I haven't even had a chance to watch one in the last little while because I've been super busy. So this is very exciting.
Well, being busy is good. I'm assuming COVID is lifting in your area and we're getting out there doing a lot more things.
Like, it's Alberta. It's going as well as it's going to. But yeah, I've just been keeping busy with work and stuff like that. So
can I ask your pronouns?
Yeah, so I use he, him pronouns.
He, him, good to know. We like to make sure that we normalize it around here, making sure we ask for those pronouns right off the bat. Now, you stepped up as emperor during COVID. How was that experience?
It was interesting. So we, Carrie Dewey and myself stepped up during a period of COVID where we were allowed to have gatherings up to like 50 people, and things were not as crazy as they were for the rest of the reign. So we stepped up thinking, we'll do a couple months of like shortened or small audience shows, a couple of online events, and we'll be good to go. That very quickly turned into 8 months of doing everything from our couch. I didn't see my upper house for 7 months straight unless we were in person, or like not see sorry unless we were online. And it like overall it went well. We learned a lot of new things that we could do to raise money, and it was a very drama free year because we were just like, we do what we got to do to get through this, right? So overall though, there's parts where I was disappointed, but other aspects where it was very fulfilling.
Now, if I'm correct, you guys raised over $35,000.
So at the time that post was made, we were at 35,000. That wasn't including coordination. So as of next week, when we issue the last of the checks, we'll be at 48,000.
That is absolutely amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, what were your beneficiaries for the rain?
So for Rain 45, we really struggled to figure out what charities we wanted to donate to. So we actually put all of our focus into our student bursaries. So we were able to give away 24 student bursaries, totaling $45,000.
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations again. Now,
Thank
who
you.
was part of your upper house? Because you had quite a good team, right?
Yeah. So there was myself and Carried Away, who was Empress 45. We had Colin Bay and Rexy Resurrection as our prince and princess, and then Godiva and Bambi Dexterous were our co-duchesses, and Godiva has obviously now stepped up as Empress of Reign 46.
I love that photo.
Yeah, I had a local artist put that together as a step down gift for my upper house.
Do you want to do a shameless plug? You can say their name.
Yeah, their name is Jonathan. I believe their Instagram is Artathan by Jonathan. He does lots of great artwork, and you should check him out.
Perfect. Now, what would you say was the highlight of the rain then? Coronation itself, or?
Yeah, well, so there was a few, like, for in-person things, like I think we only did 3 in-person events before we stepped down. Otherwise it was all online. One of the biggest highlights for me was I put together an entire raffle around craft beer, which we had never done before. We had done a wine one before, but it was super successful, and I learned a lot about our local breweries around here and ways that we could help them, and they're really delicious beer. And it raised a ton of money. We also partnered with another local brewery called Alley Cat, where they sold a beer specifically with a fancy logo on it that was like a drag queen holding a grapefruit or something like that. And they raised like $3,700 for us. Just by selling this beer locally. So those were huge highlights for me, was partnering with a lot of these local businesses that we hadn't had a chance to in the past.
That's a great idea. If you don't mind, I might actually steal that idea. There's a brewery down the street from me.
Perfect. Yeah, talk to them if they're willing to do a feature. We had 2 breweries that did a feature for us, but the Alley Cat one was very big.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
P.S. I say amazing a lot. I'm sorry.
That's all good. So do I.
Now, can we talk about your transition a bit?
Yeah.
Because we want to know, people at home, that it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you started tea in 2014?
Yeah. So I publicly came out as transgender in 2013. In 2014, I was able to start my medical transition. So I started testosterone in June 2014. I had my full hysterectomy in December 2014 and my top surgery in June 2015.
And everything good?
Everything was good. Yep.
Awesome. Now, you did transition through while working, right?
Yes.
So how was it transitioning in the workplace?
So I've been through a few jobs since I started transitioning, because that's like 7 years ago now. The job that I was working at full time when I came out as trans, I was definitely very anxious to tell my coworkers, and especially my boss. But they were all super accepting. They were A-okay with it. They just made all the changes pretty quickly, and they were like, yeah, no, we're good. We'll just put your new name here and stuff like that, and people will figure it out. So that was smooth. My next job, I went back to work for family, which was a little bit more complicated. Where like all my coworkers were okay with it, but the family member I was working for at the time still wasn't fully accepting. So they kept dead naming me to my coworkers, and it was a little messy. Since then, I've pretty much been able to just not tell my coworkers I'm trans. Like I work in a trade, like I'm a plumber by day, and super heterosexual cis men, especially the ones I work with, aren't exactly the most trans friendly people in the world. So I am lucky at this point in my transition that nobody questions my gender. So I can go just being a straight dude at work.
Hey, if it works, it works. I work at Quest Community Health Center here in St. Catharines, and we're the third largest trans clinic in Ontario. So
Awesome.
I work every day with folk that are transitioning, and it's a glorious story to watch and work with some of these amazing folks. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for anybody at home that may be transitioning and working at the same time?
I this is probably going to sound not great, but also good at the same time. Pick your battles. In some situations, it may be safer to stay in the closet. You have to think about your own personal safety first. I've worked jobs where I went from jobs where I was openly trans and everybody knew about it. And the next job I went to, I would hear people talking about how they would commit serious crimes against trans people if they ever figured out that they were trans. Pick your battles. Your safety is your number one priority. Do what you need to be happy. And if you have situations where you feel it, you have to come out and you're concerned about your safety, bring in other people to help you in that situation. That'd probably be the biggest thing.
And that is great advice, to be honest with you. So thank you very much. Now, does the Edmonton court have a large transgender community?
It's growing. When I started with the organization, there was only 2 of us that were actively participating, and then we had a past Empress. Now, since we've introduced gender neutral titles within our court, we have a pageant coming up here soon where there's like 6 people running for the mixed title. Just like having that more options for people that aren't 100% sure of their gender identity or would rather be somewhere in the middle. Having those options there, I think, are bringing more people in, and having more trans representation, especially in higher titles, is definitely broadening our community here.
Completely. I was just my second question to that was going to be like, how would you engage the transgender community to get more members? But it seems like you're doing it.
Yeah, I think for every court, they need to listen to their trans community about what they need from the organization. And for a big thing here, it was people wanted the option to not be a Mr. or a Miss, an Emperor, an Empress, a Prince, a Princess. They wanted another option. And so, yeah, we were really quick about get those titles in there, give people their options, to make everybody as comfortable as possible.
Completely. I agree with you.
I think the other thing that people don't think about, I'm assuming, I don't know about your guys' court, but we have a policies and procedure for our organization as a nonprofit. Even changing the wording in your policies and procedures is really important. We didn't realize how gendered they were until we went through to review them, and we're like, oh my God, we need to fix this. I think this is sad.
No,
So,
I agree. We did the same thing. Emperor Stephanie Bice went through our entire constitution and reworded the whole thing to make it gender neutral.
Yeah.
It was a long meeting, but it was worth it.
Oh yeah, I think we did ours over like 4 meetings, fixing every little thing that we're like, this isn't relevant anymore. This doesn't fit with today's society. But it's those small steps where you start there, where people who don't know the organization, they'll start to read the literature before they get involved, or they might. And if they see super gendered stuff like that, they're not gonna want to stick around.
Completely. In your personal opinion, I'm trying to word this as easy as I can. What does the ICS as a whole need to make it more inclusive for our trans community members?
I think every court, it should just be mandatory that every court has a gender neutral option for their titles as a basis. But I feel like the ICS needs to put they need to put a lot of literature out around trans members, and especially the trans youth coming into our court system. There's just not a whole lot of it. It's a lot of emperors, empresses. Is there any heir apparents right now that are gender neutral?
Gender neutral, I don't think so, but we do have some trans members.
Or non-binary. Yeah, I know there's some trans members, but I feel like, especially for our non-binary community, I feel like they're not nearly represented as much as our gendered community. And I feel like there needs to be more focus from the ICS to get those voices into our higher.
We should start putting some names forward, so that we recognize, especially our Canadian siblings as well.
Yeah.
So it's a great idea.
I feel like Jaylene is the person we need to go to with that.
Yeah, Jaylene is an heir. Miss Drew, John Ribson, any one of them. I think we could literally approach them and put some names forward.
Yeah.
To get some non-binary folks on the council. I think it's an amazing idea.
Yeah. I think also even transmasculine representation would be not a bad idea as well, because we do have a lot of amazing trans women who are a part of it, but I don't know if any trans men that are highly involved at the higher levels of these organizations. Like, I know in our 46-year history, I believe I'm the first trans masculine emperor in Edmonton. There's not a ton, like, there's more involved in our city now that are working their way up to these higher titles, but it's just not super represented here.
And I think in a lot of courts, it's you're seeing the transition slowly go up, right? Like the younger members are getting their chance to shine and become monarchs, and some of them have been members for years, and have done their due diligence and done their duties. So you're seeing it, and it's great to see it coming. It just us old folk like me got to die off first. I'm joking. Well, maybe I'll die off soon. Yeah. Have you ever come across any problems when you were traveling?
Like just generic travel?
Like when you went to Mexico, for example?
So I was fairly lucky that by the time I did go to Mexico, which was my last or my only trip across the border since I've started medically transitioning, I had all my documents in order. Did it make me extremely nervous especially in Mexico, to go through their security? Yes. In Canada, obviously, we know at the airport you either get a pat down or a full body scan if you're randomly selected. I am always that person that's randomly selected. I don't know why. I was joking about it with my girlfriend when we were going to the airport. I was like, just so you know, I'm going to get pulled out of line. And like the second we entered the security line, they pulled me to swab my bags. But it makes me nervous in other countries where I don't know how they feel about the trans community or how they react to them, to go through a security at an airport. Anywhere else, I can get away with it. Like nobody questions my gender. But airport security, like if they put me in a full body scanner, it's going to be very obvious that I am missing the genitalia that they're looking for. So that's what I think is probably the most nerve-wracking about traveling.
So you said that your gender marker was changed on your ID, correct?
Yes.
So what's the process in Edmonton like? I know here it's not as easy here in Ontario.
It's a pain here. So I needed to have a letter. So I started my process back when Alberta was just getting back into allowing all these gender reaffirming surgeries. They were finally getting with the times. There was a span of like 4 years where the Alberta government wasn't funding surgeries from 2019 to 2013. But then the law at that time was that you couldn't get your gender marker changed without having gender reassignment surgery. So it left people in this awkward void. When I started transitioning, they abolished that rule and they started funding surgeries again. So I was able to get my gender marker changed. Yeah. I was able to get my gender marker changed on my driver's license immediately. I had a letter from my psychiatrist that said they're transitioning, let them change their gender marker. So driver's license was easy. Alberta healthcare card and passport were a little bit more complicated, because I did my name change and my gender marker change at the same time. The name change is like like a 15-page application plus fingerprints plus old birth certificates and stuff like that. Whereas the gender marker was a 1-page thing that I had to fill out. That was just like, yeah, I'm transitioning. I want this to be my gender marker. The process was complicated because no matter how many times you submit the form, they don't seem to want to change the gender. Like I think I submitted my gender change twice. Like I got my name change certificate in the mail and it still said female. And I'm like, that's not right. I had to redo it. And then recently I had to get my high school transcripts changed for school. They changed my name, didn't change my gender marker, had to redo that. Like I think that their technology is behind on how they process these requests, which is probably the most complicated part. You just have to keep redoing it. Yeah, like the name change was easy. The gender marker change has been a nightmare.
In Ontario, it's kind of the same. I won't lie to you. Now I know you have to get going, but I do have 2 more questions for you. If that's okay.
Oh yeah, no rush. We're good.
So, what do you think, in your opinion, people need to do to be a better trans ally, and what resources can you think of?
So, resource-wise, there's a website for the Canadian AIDS Society that has a great list of transgender resources for both broadly Canada, but then it also breaks down for each province. So for people who could say from BC right now that are watching, there's a list of resources there that they could use, as well as a broad Canadian one. To be a better ally, honestly, do your research. And think about the questions that you're asking people. I'm one of those people that is A-okay with answering questions about my transition because I'd rather you ask me than ask somebody who's uncomfortable with talking about it. This probably comes from my time working for the Pride Center as a trans youth educator. And so like that, get myself back on a train of thought here. And especially if you want to ask personal questions about their genitals, about surgeries and stuff like that, never ask a dead name. That is not your business. Never your business. Just think consciously about these questions. How would you feel if a stranger was asking you those questions personally about your body? Like, what if I just walked up to you and it was like, what does your junk look like? That is not an okay question.
No.
Let's be real. It's not. I think to be a better trans ally, do your own research. And if you still have questions from there, ask beforehand if it's okay to ask more personal questions. If they say no, move on.
And you know what? I have to thank you for letting us ask these personal questions. Like we, as even the Waterfall Empire, we're trying to, better ourselves and get the conversation out there. So I really want to thank you for taking that time with us and letting us ask those questions. But there's one other thing. You're a big fan of The Masked Singer.
I am.
So for our viewers at home, who is your vote for? The bull?
Oh, who do I think it is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's 100% Todrick Hall.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like 99% sure that's Todrick Hall.
All right. Good to know. I'm going to put that in the back of my head. I know Chantel and Stephanie are probably like, yeah, that's definitely Todrick Hall.
Yeah, if you listen for the voice, especially, but then you watch the dance moves, that is 100% Todrick Hall.
Could be interesting. Chantel's yelling in the back room at me. She's like, it is, it's definitely right. He's right. I just want to thank you so much for being here. I just want to let you know you have a ton of fans here in the Waterfall Empire that love you and adore you. And I'm very excited to have this moment with you because I don't think we've ever actually met in person.
No,
honest.
We haven't. I am hoping to make it out to Hamilton for coronation this year since I didn't get to travel my entire reign. So hoping to hit up a few more this year.
Well, we welcome you with open arms and thank you so much for your time with us.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. We're learning so much. I love having guests that are willing to open up their minds and their hearts and, let us ask those very personal questions. And, I get to learn every day with my job, and I love being able to share this kind of knowledge with everybody. It's amazing. Now, circle back. Where am I going? So we want to say happy Diwali in India. One of the most significant festivals is Diwali, or the Festival of Lights. It's a 5-day celebration that includes good food, fireworks, color sand, and special candles and lamps. The Festival of Diwali symbolizes the victory of light over darkness, knowledge over ignorance, good over evil, right over wrong. It is an occasion of high spiritual value, and as it signifies the opening of our true light, which sparkles within us and shares the glow with others as well. It is one of the most prominent festivals in India and Southeast Asia, celebrated with great warmth, joy, shining grandeur, and is celebrated in many parts of the world. And I kind of mentioned it earlier, we have something very fun coming up on Saturday. It's a night of evil drag. There has been some great outtake photos being taken already. Empress Monroe and past IPR Charles have done some great job. And as you see, it's going to be one extreme bloody mess of a night. And give it up for choreographer Emprex Nathan Silva Drake, and directing and producing this whole thing. So please stay tuned on Saturday. There's my lovely Chantal Duvaldez, who stepped up to the plate. I believe you're playing 2 roles, if I'm correct. That girl can do anything. From Tracy Turnblad to zombies and witches. It's great. I love it. And shout out to the Empress and crew for doing all of that they're doing. And I think they're even refilming a little bit tonight. And it's kind of cold out there. So I believe Charles said that the blood was going to be colder than normal. But I thought it was real blood. I would like to bring on our next guest if they're ready. Can I get a thumbs up from Chantal if we're ready to go? All right. Please, folks from across the ICS, please welcome from Spectrum, one of our chosen charities this year, Melissa Paige Kennedy. Hi,
Hello.
Melissa.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad, not bad.
Now, if you don't mind, may I ask your pronouns?
She and her.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, what programs and services does Spectrum offer?
Spectrum offers 2 main streams. They offer training programs, so like rainbow diversity training, and that's offered to businesses and institutions, that sort of thing. Actually, Spectrum is doing a reboot. We, over the course of 2021, redesigned the program to bring it more up to date. We added a media style guide to the website to expand upon the language as it's ever evolving for gender diverse folks. And the other stream is one that we're very strong with, drop-ins, the various drop-in programs. And I specifically ran the transgender services. I was doing that from February 2016-ish, thereabouts. And it started with nothing at that point. And we added on initially 2 general transgender drop-ins, which we eventually expanded to 4 a month. And then we surveyed the community, and we found that there was a need for transmasculine streams. So we started up 1, got a really great response to that. So we added a 2nd meeting a month for transmasculine. And then after that, we added a non-binary program. So we were up to 7 programs after several years. The non-binary one we started a short while before the COVID lockdown. So we got a number of meetings in, and so all of it, I believe, was pretty positive, pretty popular. We try and create a space that is welcoming, safe, a place that's non-judgmental, and yeah, it's been a very successful program. And then more recently, we started a 45 plus transgender program and a partners, family, and friends. Now, just for transparency, I recently stepped away from Spectrum, so I'm a former member of Spectrum. So those 2 particular programs have been parked, but we did an initial pilot and got a really, really good response to that. So
The one program that you were talking about, that 45 plus, what's that one called?
45 plus transgender peer support group.
Okay. I thought there was like a Spectrum Prime or something like that in there.
No, Spectrum Prime is a different program, also for older queer folk, right? So, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Can
There's
you
a
tell
lot
us a little bit? Oh, sorry.
No, there's a lot of good programs drop in. Again, that is a strength of Spectrum, is the drop-in programs. Yes.
It's amazing work that you guys are doing, or that Spectrum does. Can you tell us about the Transgender Diverse Mental Health, Wellness, and Suicide Prevention Toolkit?
Yes. Okay. So a while back, like, we had successfully put in a number of grant applications, and as a result of one of the large grant applications that we put in, we had made a connection with the Canadian Women's Foundation. Well, actually, the connection was with Wage, and then they, basically put us in connection, or connected us up with the Canadian Women's Foundation. And we initially looked at the criteria, and we weren't sure how we could qualify. But as we kind of punted some ideas around, we realized that one of the things that was really needed, certainly, especially in the time of COVID-19, but also just in general within the transgender and gender diverse community, was some kind of tool, some kind of something to help with mental health and suicide prevention. So we put forward a grant. I had found something in the state of California. They had a mental health wellness program that they had developed there for high school students. And I looked at it and I thought, wow, like, this is a really awesome thing. Now, they spent a lot more time and money developing that. But I felt like if we could kind of use that as a model and see if we could develop something similar for our community, then, we could probably do something very, very useful. Mm-hmm. So we put together the grant application. We included a reference to that to say modeled something like this. And we got approval for pretty much everything we asked for in terms of dollars to work on it. So, and then we put a tender out. We got a number of good applications for organizations to help us do it. We settled on, we gave the grant or the project to Wisdom to Action, who are an excellent organization to work with. And between them and ourselves, we did research based on an outline that I put together for the project with a few major goals: to put together a toolkit that we could print and put online, something that addressed sort of the background of being trans and what the challenges are and that sort of thing, some definitions, that sort of thing. But basically to be a toolkit that was useful to people in crisis, to people supporting people in crisis, and to service organizations, either, psychologists, psychiatrists, medical professionals, doctors, family doctors, and whatnot. So that was kind of the idea, was to create something that would provide a lot of information in terms of personal practices, health practices, mental health practices, etc., but also a place where you could do some prior research and put material together on a sheet that we had in the appendix, to note down, all of the things that you should be aware of in a time of crisis, so you don't have to be hunting around for this information when an emergency is happening. Obviously, the goal of this project was to put together something that would provide a narrative to prevent self-harm and to prevent suicide ideation and that sort of thing. And then the objective was to, once we got that done, to get that out in printed form to local schools, hospitals, doctors' offices, wherever, libraries, and then also have a downloadable version on our Spectrum .com website.
Amazing work that Spectrum does. In Rain 25, Miss Drew and Evan, Spectrum was one of their chosen charities, and then Emprex, Nathan Drake, and myself decided to carry that along in this year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very happy to support Spectrum. I hear Spectrum's looking for like a couple of bloggers. Can you tell us a little bit about that position?
I must apologize.
That's fine. I just heard about it. So
well, yeah, I just saw that myself. Spectrum is always looking for ways to grow what can be done for the community, right? And so I unfortunately left the organization at the end of September, so this is something relatively new, but I anticipate that it's a way to bring voice to our community. Like, at the end of the day, everything we're doing is about bringing new ways of communicating acceptance and awareness and whatnot in the community. And so I'm presuming that what is being done in this case is reaching out to find people to tell their stories, right?
So that's awesome. Something fun and something more for us to look forward to from Spectrum, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Melissa, thank you so much for joining us tonight and giving us a little bit more insight about one of our chosen charities this year. Hopefully we will see you in person soon at maybe an event at Spectrum's having. Do you know of any coming up?
Well, there's the Chosen Family at the end of the year. That happens in December. So that'll be something to look forward to for sure.
Perfect.
Yes.
Again, thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Certainly. And thank you very much for having me on here. And thank you very much for your organization's support of Spectrum.
Anytime. It's what we're here for.
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Learning so much. There's so much more to learn every time we talk to somebody. Learning a little bit more about the charities that are in our area and the different resources that are in our area are amazing. So out of Kitchener-Waterloo area, we do have Spectrum. And please check out their website and see all of the things that they do. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm trying to get back to my script here because I went a little off script and Chantal's giving me the handshake there. So we are bringing back our Super Queeros. Are we ready, Chantal? I think we're ready. On today's edition of Super Queeros, in honor of the upcoming Veterans Day, we wish to salute a trailblazer for trans people in the military, Sergeant Sylvia Durand of the Canadian Armed Forces. Sylvia Durand knew from the age of around 5 that she was not like any other children around her. She is quoted as knowing from that young age that she had been born in the wrong body. She joined the Canadian Armed Forces, pre-transitioned as a telecommunications specialist at the Department of National Defense, serving in Ottawa, Ontario. Sylvia made history in 1998 of becoming the first serving member of the Canadian Forces to transition, as well as becoming the first member of any military worldwide to transition openly while serving under the flag. On Canada Day in 1998, the military changed her name officially to Sylvia and changed her sex designation on all of her personal file documents. It was during this time that Sylvia met her life partner, Cynthia Cousin, a former Toronto police officer of 28 years, another trans woman while undergoing counseling and treatment prior to their gender affirming operation, and went on to form a relationship that defies easily classification. In 1999, the military paid for gender-affirming surgery, although she was the first soldier in the world to undergo this type of procedure. While serving in the military, she has stated many times that her transition was accepted by her colleagues without ridicule or discrimination. Sylvia continued to serve and got promoted onto the ranks of warrant officer. When she retired in 2022, in 2012, after more than 31 years of service, she was assistant of the Canadian Forces Chief Communications Operator. Whew, not just talk. It's amazing to see the progress that we have made in Canada, and there's still lots more progress to be made. We do have the human rights ruling and a message from ICP Tanya King from the Imperial Court of Toronto.
Hello, daytime Tanya here, looking a little bit glamorous, with a very special guest. And this little girl right here, she is a 3-week-old Great Dane puppy. And today the two of us will be discussing a court case that was actually decided all the way back in the summer, where a judge ruled in favor of someone making a complaint about purposefully and deliberately being misgendered at their job, and that that they ruled that it's a human rights violation. And I'm supposed to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the matter. And I think that that situation is actually very great in that it sets a precedent for laws that have been passed before, like Bill C-16, to be successfully enforced by our judges and our courts, and is very affirming to someone like myself that's transgender, because um, there is a very deliberate acknowledgement by the courts that, oh, it's okay, little one, that deliberate misgendering is very harmful, and it's a very inhuman way of treating someone, especially a coworker. And I hope that this sets a precedent for the future for other employers, and also for, like, say, building tenants and schools and so on, that they understand the limits of the law, and to try to damage someone that is transgender or non-binary on purpose like that is not only wrong, but now illegal. And there is a very clear statement of how um, that is to be enforced now. With this is a human rights case where the word damage is awarded to the victim, and it's very encouraging, because I myself am going through a similar process with in my own life. I've been a victim of discrimination as well. Hmm, relax there, little one. And I it's very encouraging, because there's a lot of equity now that that's gone towards the transgender community. Of there's a lot of hurt, and a lot of that has been fixed, and a lot of understanding that has been improved upon. And I'm very proud that as a society that we've managed to make it to the point where we said enough is enough. You have to treat people humanely, even in regards to using pronouns and dead names. So I'm very pleased with that. Thank you very much for having me. And my little friend right here, bit she's a little bit tired. And have a great show. We'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Tanya. It's so lovely to have Tanya part of this organization and in the Imperial Court of Toronto, and to see them as Imperial Crown Princess this year. We've had them on the show before, and they were absolutely wonderful. If you've never seen one of their performances before, you need to get your butt to Ottawa because they bring the house down. And amazing performer. But let's get on to our next guest because there was gunshots outside my window, and I'm not even actually in Hamilton. I'm joking. Chantel's like, that's not funny. I'm in Niagara Falls. It happens. I have people on their way to the house now, just to see. Ladies and I said gunshot, not stabbings, but they happen here too. Ladies and gentlemen, folks, siblings from across the ICS, please welcome Emprex 43 and 44 of the Imperial Court of the Chinook Arc, Emprex, Natasha Brite.
Hi.
Hi. We have a bit of an echo.
It's probably me. I'm in my house and it's echoey.
Fair enough. All good. I love the jewels.
Pardon me?
I love your jewels.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
And accessories?
Yeah.
Ditto.
Perfect.
What are your pronouns?
My pronouns in and out of drag are they, them.
Good to know.
Thank you for answering.
Can you educate our audience on what to be non-binary?
Non-binary, it's going to be depending on the person that you talk to. For me, what it means is it's accepting that I am some. Sorry. It is just accepting that like I don't fit in this male-female gendered norm kind of thing. I am genderless. So being non-binary has shown that it's more than just fitting into two squares. And yeah, I'm really bad at talking about myself.
It's okay. But I'm going to ask you another question. You looked in fast and always beautiful. What inspires you drag?
Pretty much anything. I do a lot of makeup in and out of drag, and I'm sitting on Instagram and TikTok a lot. So I do follow a lot of makeup artists. But yeah, it's just kind of what I want to do, and whatever like trend that I see kind of like inspires me to do it.
So what is your Instagram handle?
Instagram is Nathan Maddox, NATHANMATTICS.
Perfect.
Does the Imperial Court of
Wild Rose non-binary?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Does the Sovereign Court of Wild Rose have non-binary line?
No, we have a binary line. You said Wild Rose, so that's Edmonton and we're Chinook.
It's written in front of me.
All good. Yeah, we have a non-binary line with our upper house and some of our lower house. I am the first Emprex though, so that's fun.
Are you the first Canada?
No, I'm the third Emprex of Canada. I am the first of Alberta. Well, being crowned, because the Wild Rose, they are letting their college, if they didn't feel like they were if their title Emperor Empress doesn't align with who they are today, then they're allowed to change it. So, I mean, I'm the first in Calgary there.
Hey, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
What would the theme to your ring?
The themes of my reign?
Yeah.
We had, oh goodness. My first one was, it feels like a million years. I can't remember.
What?
Whoopsies. First one, can't remember. COVID has ruined my brain. Our second one was pretty much just about the community and being that we're fine. But our second one was mostly about community and making sure that even throughout the pandemic, that there was somebody that they could see and rely on. As many people don't know, my first step down was supposed to be April 2020, and the world shut down March 25th, 2020. So it was fun.
Did you do that one virtually?
Yeah, our second one was virtual rain, which was a pain in the butt.
So because you're 43 and 44, you had two upper.
Yes.
Who were they?
So our first reign, we had Prince at Chaos Reigns and Prince the Marvelous Mo. And our Duchess was Casey Star, and our Prince was Brite. And then our second reign, our Princess was Casey Star, our Prince was Brite, and then our Dutch X's were Sister Visa Decline and Sister Jackalicious.
Nice. It's always good to give them a shout out.
Yeah, well, here's my shout out to you guys.
I gotta have right on the what were the challenges in reigning during COVID?
Everything, not knowing what I was doing. It was a struggle. I am not a computer whiz at all. It took me 29 years to figure out YouTube. So that was the fun part, was like trying to get everything going. And then also coming off of a reign where like it was show, and then going into like, yeah, so you're stuck at home and now figure out how to raise money. And yeah, that was a little hard. Try to like think of outside of the box ideas, which when you're stuck in your home and all you have is TV, you don't have outside of the box outside of the box ideas. You are just being a couch potato.
You did very well on many of your shows.
Oh, perfect.
Could you have our Waterfall shows?
Oh yeah, we had the biggest one from the Waterfall was Charles. Anytime we asked, he was like, "Yeah, here you go."
He's an interesting one.
Oh yeah,
but he's always there supporting about everything.
Yeah.
So what was our highlight?
Ooh, highlight of my reign was, even though I did not know anything about doing virtual shows, when I got the hang of virtual shows, how many people across Canada and actually even the States were more than welcoming to like submit a video. That was probably one of my biggest highlights, is how we all came together, even though we were just talking through Facebook Messenger, and put on some great shows.
It was good energy at home, not to see each other and coach each other.
It was great, because like I never knew some of these people, and now I'm like, yeah, well, looks like I'm going there next year. More traveling, yay!
Or the next year.
Or maybe the year after. We'll find out. Sorry, I just get echo.
I know, me too. Sorry. As allies, how can we better engage our trans community?
As allies, really, Tanner said a bunch of it, but also asking for pronouns, or even not even asking for it, but like just going off of that. Like, sorry, my train of thought is not here. But introducing your pronouns before asking somebody else. So instead of just being like, yo, I'm Natasha, what are your pronouns? Integrate it. So it's, hi, I'm Natasha, my pronouns are they, them. It makes it a lot more easier, especially for people who feel uncomfortable with saying what their pronouns are. And it's more welcoming. Like,
It's great advice.
Great advice.
Yeah, and especially if like our allies start doing that, because being non-binary and stuff like that isn't a queer thing. There are straight non-binary people. It'll also open the doors for so many more people to come out, and yeah.
So what advice
would you
give someone
who's
struggling
with your gender?
Research. Biggest thing, research, especially if you're struggling with it, because no matter what, every day you can like figure out something new about you. And then if you're really, really struggling with it, there is always somebody around to talk to. Somebody off the top of my head would be like Emprex Nathan, somebody who is non-binary, who probably has gone down the same path, and who will be able to give you the advice that you need and the resources that you need. For me, it was research, a lot of research. I'm still researching to this day and reading books to figure out who I am. But yeah, if you're struggling with it, definitely do whatever you can.
Great advice.
Empress Monroe
says she loves
you.
Love you too.
Anything exciting
coming out of your mouth?
I don't fully know. Actually, yes, I do. Wow, you guys got me right there. Thank you. As I was talking about it all day at work. Me and my prince, we have a trivia night down at one of our local bars. It's not only just to raise money for a charity, but it's also to get people to come out to a bar that's been around since the 80s, I think. And also like culturize the new people into like something that's been around since before we were born, and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a fun night. I still have to come up with my questions though, so that's a little bit of a struggle. And then also in November, our Regent Emperor 45, Dion Boink, is having his annual World's AIDS Day events. So November 20th and November 27th, those are going on down here. Trying to think of what else. Oh, our Regent Empress, Devious Soul, and Regent Emperor Fred Udy are having a birthday show this weekend, which is also hilarious because it like goes Devious's birthday and like Fred's birthday and then my birthday, and so we're all just like all together. Trying to think if there's any more. No, there's no more.
And then coronation in April. Are you doing coronation in April?
From what I know, I have skipped some of my board meetings, so I don't fully know. But if we do, it will be April. I think the email said April 23rd might be our ball. I think.
Works for me.
Yeah. Last year was the 24th, so I'm going to say it's this year. It's the 23rd.
Work for me.
Right.
I have to thank you so much. I follow you on Twitter, Instagram, everything.
Follow me on Twitter. Oh, sorry.
I found it
randomly. You clicked the link on my Instagram. Thank you for having me, though.
Thank you. You look stunning.
Oh, for this very fast beat face. Thank you.
Hey, wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So much fun. There's so many great folks across the ICS. I love this. I love following Natasha during their reign, and making sure, that Charles was kept in line a little bit, which he wasn't, but it was fun. We had a lot of fun watching all of those videos. Those polls. I was doing some random polls, not dancing on them, but like putting them in our chat thing or in our group pages. So we started with a this or that, pumpkin pie or apple pie. And the winner goes to pumpkin pie enormously. I thought for sure apple pie would win from the movie American Pie. But I was wrong. I was the only one that liked apple pie. And which Golden Girl are you? This was like a 4-way tie because everybody could relate to one of the 4 people. So it was a lot of fun in this way. We got a lot of Dorothy, which makes me think we have a lot of bitchy members or members that will tell you off. It's all good. And our famous over-under, the winner was over. Nobody likes a mullet was my favorite phrase to this thing. The biggest thing is that under is the easiest way to rip off the pieces. Over, well, it just looks nicer. I prefer it folded in a triangle, like in the hotel, but that's just me. So if you come to my house, that's probably what you see. And then our Halloween one, which of these horror villains would you have the best chance of surviving from? Samara was actually the winner when I looked on her Instagram because everybody went to related to Scary Movie where that bitch just like kicked her in the head and like, kept kicking her like she was a clown. And then I believe Freddy Krueger was next of being able to win because really, how many people did he kill? It was all in a dream. No, wrong way. Hi, Daddy. Where am I on next? We do have a special message from the Imperial Court Council. Empress Jaylene.
Hi there, this is Jaylene Time, Empress 35 of Vancouver, British Columbia, the Mother Court of Canada, and heir apparent to Queen Mother 1 of the Americas, Empress Nicole the Great, second in line of succession. And I happen to be a very proud Indigenous trans two-spirit identifying human being. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the strides that we have made as an International Court Council to make sure that we are being representative of the diversity of our communities. The Trans Empowerment Committee was one that was created to offer support and resources for our communities at large. I think one of the most important things we have as an international court system is to really make sure that we are providing resources to make sure that everybody feels welcome. And so when we have an opportunity to make sure that we're listening to the voices of people that are living their lives in their truth, it's really important to share that with everybody. The chairs of the Trans Empowerment Committee are Empress Daniel Logan from Hawaii and myself. And we also have committee members on the International Court Council that support our initiatives. And really it's about connection. It's about making sure that we are providing resources and education for people on what it means to be trans and what are some of the resources that are available in the many different cities that make up the international court system. So our intent is really to come together and to make sure that every person feels a part of, because we are an international family. Whenever anybody reaches out their hand for help, there should be always a hand available to hold on to.
Great word from Empress Jaylene. Thank you so much for sending that in, and for our folks to know at home that the ICC is there to lend a hand to all of our membership. It's really great work I think we're doing, and the progression that the ICC is doing. I'm very, very proud to be a part of this organization. So we do have some upcoming events. I kind of already touched on it. November 6th, this Saturday, we have the Evil Dead or A Night of Evil Drag. Mwah! That was my bad laugh. I'll never do that again. It's okay. And then we also have our online auction that is now available. We have some of these great things to be won. Oh, that Julie Andrews one, I'm going to cry when that goes. It's okay. And don't forget, this Tim Thorin tiara is also up for grabs. Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. It is stunning, and it's very nice weight. Very great detailed work in the back here. I'm just saying. We also have our cup program going on right now. So you can get your very own Waterfall cup. You can email waterfallempire@gmail.com and let us know. There's also a post on Facebook. I'll post it a bit later. We also have Spin to Win is back. I'm very excited for Spin to Win. Keep an eye out on our pages for Spin to Win. If you are not invited to the Spin to Win page, please reach out to Emprex, Nathan Drake, or myself, and we will make sure that you get invited because there's lots of great things. I think right now we have 3 things up. We have gift cards, we have a blanket, and I forget the third item, and I'm a horrible person for forgetting. Okay. And then November 20th is Trans Remembrance Day. And of course, we would like to share our mental health poster in case anybody is having any suicidal thoughts or depression. We'll just leave that number up there for you guys for you folks to see. I correct myself every time I get the chance to. I apologize. And no show would end without a performance, and I hate this part the most. Well, I hate introducing myself. So next time, I'm going to make Empress Nathan Drake perform. Just saying.
Fine, I'll do it. Ladies and gentlemen, your reigning Empress. Let's bring her on, give her a warm welcome, and remember to tip the lady, Empress Katana.
You know the bed feels warmer, sleeping here alone. You know I dream in color and do the things I want. You think you got the best of me, think you've had the last laugh, but you think that everything good is gone. Think you left me broken down, think that I'll come on and back. Maybe you don't know me cause you're dead wrong. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes you fighter. Puts the fever higher. Doesn't mean I'm over. Cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Trust me, myself and I. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. It hurt that I was starting over with someone new. They told you I was moving on over you. And think that I'd come back swinging. You tried to break me, but you see what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes you fighter. Puts the fever higher. Doesn't mean I'm over. Cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Trust me, myself and I. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. Thanks to you, I got a new thing started. Thanks to you, I'm not so broken hearted. Thanks to you, I'm finally thinking about me. You know, in the end, the day you left was just a mild beginning. In the end, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes you fighter. Puts the fever higher. Doesn't mean I'm over. Cause you're gone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Trust me, myself and I. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Trust me, myself and I. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone.
that wasn't awkward at all. I'm joking. I might have to bid on this. This is my thing. I'm loving this. Okay. Oh no, it's duck. Let's just keep it in. Let's not make it crooked. All right. Thank you, folks, for joining us tonight. Please look forward to us on Saturday. It's going to be absolutely amazing and funny and gory and bloody and all of the things. Please make sure you tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, folks, very much. And stay safe. Hi.